Oh my, it is a mess out here still. The hardscape is done. We are just about to do the landscaping and final cleanup out here, but I have to show you how cool this space is, and then you'll get to see some of the finished photos here at the end of this video. But we did, when we first came here, there was a deck that was coming out of the back of the house. There was multiple different types of pavers. There was pea gravel, like actual gravel around this entire pool. And when you're walking around a pool, generally you're barefoot. So your feet are actually walking on the actual gravel itself. Really uncomfortable, really not a great setup for around a pool. There were stepping stones in it, but that really doesn't help with the way and the flow and how this whole entire space was supposed to feel. So we want to make sure that this backyard ended up feeling like an oasis. Busy lives, a lot going on. We want to make sure that when they're coming back here, they're able to relax, hang out, and enjoy the space. So let me walk you through how we put this space together. So when you come here, we've got a landing. So it was originally that this deck came out way into here. There was an awkward little paver patio right here. And then there was gravel around this entire pool with a little bit of stepping stones in it. So we built this landing here, and originally we built it so they could put their grill up in here. It looks like the grill is now going to be housed down here, but we want to make sure that these steps just flow right out into the space, that there's a nice transition space where they can put shoes, anything they want. But the idea is that these stairs are nice and even, nice and shallow, and bring you right out into the space and kind of orient you towards the pool, orient you towards the fire pit, which is going to be where they're going to end up spending a lot of time. So as you walk into the backyard, there's a path that winds around here, and you'll notice that that path just turns right into what right now is a window. So eventually this door that is right here is going to go away, and there's actually going to be a sliding glass door or a pair of French doors that open up right in here. So we already kind of know that that's going to happen. So we've preemptively put our walkway to there, and we didn't put a walkway over to this door here. And so that path just kind of leads around, flows into here, and then just welcomes you right into the backyard. Cool feature is the sunken fire pit. So this is an idea where you step down one space into the fire pit. Now, a lot of times when you have a fire pit, you know, it's just kind of like off to the side and it's just in its own little space. We still wanted that kind of feeling, but we wanted it to be right next to the pool so that when they're over here and over here, these two spaces can interact really well, and whatever's going on with their table and chairs over here, that you're not off in the distance too far away. But we did go ahead and put a step in this because we really want it to feel important, and we want it to feel special when you come into this fire pit. So we've stepped it down one step, we've sunken it, just so that when you come in here and you sit down, you actually just feel a little bit lower. You've crossed a line. That step kind of psychologically allows you to enter this space and enter the fire pit area. And as always, I always say, when you cross that line or when you make that step, when you enter the fire pit, one of two things can happen. Either you start talking about politics or you stop talking about politics, or you start talking about work or you're not allowed to talk about work. Whatever your rule is, when you come across this step, you're now in the fire pit zone. So kind of coming out from here, I have a circle here, and there was just kind of like an odd oblong kind of shape for the pavers. We weren't quite sure how to make this space feel special. So we're gonna have our loungers over here. We had to rebuild the diving board area right there, and I'll get to that in a second. But what I did right here was wanted to just break it up a little bit. So this is Borealis, this is a Techo block, and if you look at this really closely, you'll see it actually has a wood grain look to it. A really, really cool product. And we just wanted to kind of break up the feel of the Blue 60 pavers. We wanted it to just have just a little bit of a pop. So they'll end up having a table and chairs right on here. And this just breaks up this space. So it's not just like a whole bunch of pavers flowing through here, and it's not just like a massive concrete. It just has some interest. And then to make sure that that flow through and that theme was consistent, we also did kind of like a boardwalk around the new coping on the pool. So we put in this coping, we used that same product, this Borealis, and so it just has a really cool plank look all the way around the pool and just kind of makes it pop out. Now for the diving board. When we came here, there was a concrete pad here that we actually were cutting around. We were doing all this in order to save the diving board. It was very interesting though. When we started to cut it away, there was no way for us to save the diving board foundation, which, if you know, diving board, it needs to have a pretty decent foundation under it so that when somebody is bouncing off at the end here, this thing doesn't just pop right out of the ground. So we actually ended up using 2 full pallets of bagged concrete. We put rebar and all kinds of tiebacks into this space. So the concrete actually comes out a decent way here, and it actually has about 4,000 pounds of concrete in this space. And the idea is that somebody's bouncing on here, they're not gonna really be able to get that 4,000 pounds to move. So then moving to kind of the last special space in this area here is the hot tub area. And so you see we have these panels right here right now, and the idea is that the hot tub is kind of off by itself. It's not part of the space, but you can kind of still see what's going on back there. You can kind of see that it's part of the space. It kind of just draw you into that space. So right here you see we got our plants laid out. There's actually going to be slate stepping stones that lead through here. You kind of squeeze through this little area. You kind of have to hunker down a little bit. That's intentional. And then as you kind of come in here, these slate steps are going to open up in here, and you can see there's going to be a hot tub right here. We've already got our power run. There'll be a hot tub right in here, a little seating wall. There'll be a couple little chairs in here. And so the idea is when you're in this space and you're hanging out back here, this just kind of feels a little bit more separate. And especially when all these plants fill in, I mean, they're going to have some decent height on them. So it'll block you from what's going on in the pool, give you a little privacy from what's going on in the rest of the world. And it's just kind of like a destination spot where you can go, you can be in your hot tub, and you can just kind of have a little oasis, a little zen moment. Because a lot of times the hot tub is a little bit more of an intimate setting. And if it's just kind of sprawled out and part of this whole space, it's not going to accomplish the exact feeling that they wanted to have for their hot tub. So that's what's going on here with this little pad, electrical, little seating wall that has a nice lighting element to it. It's a really cool and unique space for their hot tub. Jim, Chris, they're finishing up all the grading. We're doing landscaping over there. We've got a little bit of landscaping going in here. This is all gonna be mulched. And then they're adding in all the lights and the speakers and stuff like that that go in the flower bed. So you can see we've got our cable run. There's gonna be a lot of path lights and just all the kind of the subtle low lights that really make a space like this pop. So we've got lights in that landing there. We've got lights all in this circle over here. There's just a lot of lights coming in. You can see Nelson and Donnie right now are running that edging out there, and you see we're continuing that kind of curve just like we've got running down this space here. If you see how I've got that kind of curve winding through this patio, we're doing that same thing with all the flower beds to just make this whole space pop. This was a pretty involved project, many different phases. As we were getting into it on the front end, we actually found that the pool was leaking, so a pool contractor actually had to come in while we were working on the pool and actually dig out and put new plumbing on this entire pool. So there's all kinds of fun things that we ran into in this project, but the end results really speak for themselves, and I know they're gonna be able to enjoy this space and find the piece that they're looking for. Thanks for following along, guys. I'll be sure to show you some more pictures.